2005, Louisville, Kentucky. I was in the US working for a multinational company after my MBA from a top 20 B school. Life was good. Good job, great money, having fun, something that many of us aspire for. Then one fine evening, my left arm went numb. I couldn't feel my left arm. Within a few hours, it was my left leg, and then parts of my face. Checked into the emergency room, and a couple of days later, a battery of tests later, it was diagnosed as a mini stroke. I was shaken. I was like, why me? I thought I was eating healthy. And I thought, I was avoiding those processed foods. I was doing a fair bit of exercise, and I was 36. So why me? And that was a wake-up call for me to dig deeper into what I was eating. As a coincidence, Devi, my wife, was studying the food system in the US. So she was working with farmers in Kentucky. So together, for the next 18 years, we have been learning more and more about food. Devi from a farming perspective and me from a health perspective. And we continue to learn a lot. And fast forward 8 years, we came back to India, we started organic farming, and we set up BioBasics, a social venture focused on organic food, safe food, and sustainable farming. So here I am to present to you in 18 minutes what we've learned about food in 18 years. Take a look at this meal now. Something that all of us are familiar with, we've grown up on this. But 18 years ago, I was not familiar with this in terms of what I knew about it. I didn't know how it was grown, with chemicals or without chemicals. I didn't know whether it was processed with nutrition, retaining nutrition or not. I didn't know how it was cooked, where it was sourced from, what kind of rice it was, which farm or farmer. I didn't know when it came to cooking, what kind of ingredients were used, the oils or spices and such. Think about your own meal this afternoon, or for that matter, your dinner. How much do you know about that? From farm to table, almost nothing. So it is in that context, a few years later, in one of those afternoons while we were at our farm, we saw our neighboring farmer, Sendil. He was spraying on his crops of green beans. So we wanted to find out more, so we went over and talked to him. Turns out that he was spraying a chemical which was not meant for food crops, and he was growing green beans. Also turns out that he was supposed to spray this chemical 21 days before harvest, and he was going to harvest the very next day. So we were like shocked. I said, why are you spraying this way? And he told us something that day which completely changed our perspective. He said, sir, farming is a hobby for you. For me, it is a livelihood. If I don't spray this chemical and I take these green beans, which will have black spots by tomorrow morning because of the pests, I take them to the market, I get 8 rupees a kilo. But if I take it without the spots, I get 12 rupees a kilo. And sir, I need that 4 rupees extra for my family. Would you blame him for that? Put yourself in his shoes. He doesn't spray chemicals because he likes it. He sprays chemicals because we consumers like to have our vegetables fresh and clean and spotless. We make him spray chemicals on our own food Such is consumer power. We consumers are very, very powerful. And when we don't know much about our food, that can hurt. We walk into a superstore, a faceless supermarket, and we buy food based on what? Based on price, or a brand, or advertisements, or the packaging, or some celebrity endorsements. Sometimes even not even reading the ingredient labels. And that, at that time, that consumer power hurts. Hurts our health, our children's health. We are the diabetes capital of the world. Cancer, obesity, heart disease is so common today. It hurts our farmers because when we ask for cheap and best, the farmer chooses chemical farming and gets paid a pittance for his work. And then that leads to debt. And then that leads to death by suicides. It obviously hurts the environment because you're pushing all these chemicals into our soil, our water, our air. So much so that top soda brands today can't take out chemicals from their soda. So much so that mother's milk carries the very same chemicals. It hurts. But we consumers are very, very powerful. If we use our power, the consumer power, in the right direction, we have in the US forced companies to stop using what is called RBGH, a bovine growth hormone, which is given to cows to enhance milk production. In Europe, we have forced governments to change their laws on genetic modification of food. In fact, recently, the Italian parliament actually voted down the introduction of what is called synthetic food. In India as well, we have forced our companies to care for the government, where top soda brands are now talking about going healthy. When we realized that consumers are this powerful, we at BioBasics, we started a movement called Consume to Conserve. So we started focusing, instead of focusing on farmers and asking them to go organic, we started focusing on consumers and asking them to go organic. So over the past 8 years, BioBasics has reached out, engaged with thousands of families, thousands of consumers over social media, online and offline, sharing what we know about our food and also explaining to them how they should make better choices. So we've built a one-stop shop where we offer 300 types of organic food so that families don't have to hunt around for organic food. And Consume to Conserve is a campaign we launched recently. And for that, we actually talked about how climate change requires us to reduce consumption. But when it comes to food, we have to consume. And so we have to consume consciously, because if we don't, then we could lose our health, our farmers, and our environment. So how can people like you and me consume to conserve? 3 steps. First, know your food. Let's ask questions about our food. Do your due diligence about your food. We do due diligence on almost everything we buy, ranging from laptops and cell phones to houses and cars. When we go to a doctor or a dentist, we do due diligence, don't we? Then why is it that we don't do due diligence on the food that we eat every single day? Ask ourselves, ask questions like, is this food safe to eat? Is it chemical free or not? Back in 2005, when we went organic after my health episode, we went organic almost overnight. And for the past 18 years, we have been eating organic food. You see, that's what happens when you go to an emergency room. Organic was expensive. but only for the first 2 months. Because after the third month, you get used to it. Just imagine everything that you eat, which is, if it is not organic, it is by definition, it is laden with chemicals of various kinds. Step 2, reclaim your kitchen. Cook at home. I remember this person in one of those Thanksgiving dinners in the US where she said, why do we need a kitchen in the house when you have so many ready-to-eat meals? All you need is a fridge, a microwave, and a coffee maker. It was outlandish to me at that time. But today, thanks to the food delivery app, kitchen in the house and cooking at home is indeed going out of fashion. So cook at home. Because cooking at home actually controls what you put inside your mouths. You can use the best of ingredients for all that you cook at home. So I remember Kalyan Singh was my taxi driver in Bombay, and he once told me that, sir, in Uttar Pradesh where I come from, we cook at home in the village and we go out into the fields for the toilet. But here in Bombay, you actually have a toilet at home, but you keep going out to eat. So now you tell me who is better off. So cook at home, reclaim your kitchen. That's step 2. Step 3 is eat diversity. India is home to thousands of rices and hundreds of wheats. But thanks to Green Revolution, we have reduced all that diversity to just a few handful of rices. And all we eat today is the same homogenized, chemicalized rice. And it's not just rice, it's wheat, it's pulses, it's vegetables, greens, even tubers. We are losing diversity across all this. Studies have shown that 75% of what humans eat today comes from just 12 plant sources. Just 12. So climate change scientists talk about mass extinction of bird and animal species. But the reality is that we are seeing the mass extinction of plant food species right under our noses. And the loss of diversity directly impacts our own food security and India's food sovereignty. Let's take rice, for example. We all love rice, but some of us are afraid to eat rice because it is associated with obesity and diabetes. But that's not the problem with rice. The problem is what we have done to rice. We have chemicalized rice. We have over-polished it. And we are eating only a few varieties of rice. Especially when there is a rice for every age, there is a rice for every meal, there's a rice for every occasion, every season, every cuisine. And then there is a rice for every health condition. And this is the diversity of rices we have. And if we don't eat this rice, the diversity of rices, these heritage grains will die out. And our grandkids will start wondering what black rice looks like. And in case you're wondering what black rice looks like, this is what it looks like. But if we do eat these diversity of rices, the farmers will grow it and there will be more and more of these rices in the market. So at BioBasics, what we are doing is we are working with single farm or individual farmers who grow these heritage rices, curate these rices in our kitchens, and make recipes so that consumers can get comfortable with it. And we are popularizing this among the consumers. As a result, for the past 8 years, we have built the largest or the most diverse organic granary of heritage grains in India today, where we carry 60 varieties of rices. 10 varieties of wheats and 10 varieties of millets. And we are proud of that. This is what we eat nowadays. I know where each of this comes from, which farm, which farmer. I know that all of them is organic, no chemicals have been used. I also know that they are minimally processed, so it retains the nutrition. And above all of this is cooked at my own house. In the history of mankind, never have we consumers been so powerful. But at the same time, in the history of mankind, never have we consumers known so very little about our food. So at BioBasics, we challenge consumers to think, to know more about food and to eat better. Because when we eat better, the farmers and the environment get taken care of automatically. So that is BioBasics' way of denting the universe. But if today you and me, today we decide as consumers, if we choose to eat and consume heritage grains, organic whole foods, you know what? The farmers will produce it, the retailers will stock it, and the governments will support it. So if you and me can vote with our mouths and vote with our money, each one of us here can dent the universe. The question is, do we have the will to dent the universe? Thank you.